There is a land hidden between Rome and Tuscany where everything is very reasonably priced, but history, tradition, people, really people, are fantastic.
Via, pronti? E questo è un inno al vino.
You can easily buy for what you can get, maybe a garage in Chicago, New York, or Los Angeles, a little piece of paradise with fireplace and with a garden. A lovely place where you grow older or you send your friends and family. Please check us out. Good evening. This is the week of Thanksgiving, and once again, I'm super lucky to have with me Roy Effner from Villa San Giovanni. Roy, good evening. How are you, my friend?
Good evening. I like to say in Italian, non c'è male.
Oh, very good. You are getting Italian. That's fantastic. Okay, so Roy, a question. You are an American living in Italy. This is the week of Thanksgiving. Are you sad?
No. Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday in America. And so for all the time that I've been here, which is now 16 years, every year I've done a Thanksgiving dinner. And it kind of freaks out the Italians that I would invite, because they couldn't figure out why on a Thursday night I was having this large feast. But
so you said something interesting. Why? What's with the Italian and Thursday night?
I don't know, but it's not Thanksgiving, the fourth Thursday. But the first time that I did this, I got I ordered a turkey from my friend Filippo Moretti, who has a meat store in town, and it was the first time that anybody had ever ordered a whole turkey to roast. And as far as I know, I'm the only one that in 15, 16 years has ordered a turkey. Italians eat turkey, but they don't eat roasted turkey. They buy.
I have to tell you, one of the first video I did was from America in Thanksgiving evening, and I shot this little video about it. Humongous 20-pound turkey in the oven. I think I got maybe 100 people asking, what the heck is that?
No.
Okay, so Roy, let's go back to the usual business, real estate in Tuscia. Tonight, we have to talk about Civitella d'Agliano. Do you know anything about it?
I don't, other than what I looked up on the internet the last few days. It's one of the 60 comunes in the Viterbo province, and has about 1,600 people, which is a little larger than our village. But looking at the photos, it's very beautiful. And then looking at real estate available there, there's a lot of nice places for very reasonable prices, 25, 30,000 euros. I was quite surprised, but it's a very beautiful, the old village is very beautiful.
So it is a medieval town, so very old, and it's next to Tevere, the Tevere River, the river that goes through Rome. And there is this huge valley, we call it Teverina, like little Tevere. And many little villages throughout the centuries were pretty lucky there, because, it was easy to travel on the river and exchange goods and stuff. But as always, these little villages are built on a rock, so it's easy to defend. At the same time, I just went there. It's so freaking hard to walk around because it's up and down, up and down, up and down. But I'm glad I can show you some picture of the historical center. This is the way everything looks like. We call them tufo rocks. So they're not peperino that are very common in our area. These are tufo, a little more on the brown side. And you can easily step on a little corner that it's as beautiful as this one. So it's really a cute little place, but only 30 people live in the old town. So that means huge real estate opportunity, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, yeah. If you want to live, if you know, living in the centers of the old villages, you know, most people, you know, modern people don't want to do that, even though it's beautiful. And so the towns have expanded outside of the old centers. Like in our village, you know, we're not as old as this one, but the majority of the modern people, they live outside of the old center of the village. But
So
if you just looking to buy a place to come for a couple of weeks or a few weeks a year, you know, living in the center is quite nice.
So let's say I want to buy a place. No, so what is your experience? Is it easy to get it remodeled or brought up to standard?
It is, and the craftsmanship here of the workers is fantastic. If you buy an old place and it needs to be, you know, brought up to a modern standard with the modern kitchen and whatever you're looking for, it's not really a problem. You know, a couple of the old homes inside of our village have been made into Airbnbs, and you know, they're really beautiful. So it's not difficult to find. Again, the quality of the craftsmanship of workers here in Italy is fantastic. Much better than, you know, New York or Chicago or, you know.
Okay, I have another question for you. So, say you were to buy a place in Civitella for, let's say, $30,000, and
Yeah,
you fix it up for another 20,000. Would you
yeah.
send there your friends and family, or would you rent it as an Airbnb?
Well, if it was me, I would rent it out as an Airbnb. You know, and you can make some pretty good money running them out as an Airbnb. So if you buy it, you know, if you spend 50,000 as you just mentioned, you know, over a period of years, you'd make that money back. You know.
Actually, I just heard, now I'm talking about Viterbo, not Civitella. Civitella is a small place, a little bit outside Viterbo, let's say 20 miles, but also very, very close to Civita di Bagnoregio, that is fantastic. I was saying, in Viterbo, a friend of mine in a year makes over 100,000. Over.
That's a lot, but you know, it's not normal, but you can still make pretty good money. You know.
Yeah, my friend, doesn't speak English, and he has a bunch of American going there. He just put together very nice accommodation, nice place,
Yeah.
and people are happy to pay. And Civitella is not Viterbo; it's a little bit. Viterbo is like 60,000 people versus Civitella is 1,000 or a little more. But I think with a little bit of marketing from the US, it's not too hard to get people to go there for 3, 4 days. Particularly Orvieto and Civita di Bagnoregio are very close, like 20 minutes.
Yeah, again, if people are coming over from America to stay in what they view as you know, the Italy that they have in their head, this village is that village. This is where you want to stay. So
That's right. That's right. So I would say at least it's worth a visit in August, where all kind of festivity are in the central square. Let me show you. I have a picture of the central square. In the summer, this square becomes full of life. All tables all over, beer, food, good wine, and everybody's super happy there. Actually, you know what, Roy? I forgot to tell you, there is a vino called Grechetto from the Mottura Cantina. It's famous all over the world, and it's produced there in Civitella d'Agliano. And the mayor name is Giuseppe Mottura, of the family of Mottura of the wine. So there is a fantastic. You like wine, right?
yeah, my
Very
doctor
good.
I just stopped drinking it, and I said, "Well, I will one of these days." But of course, no, the wine in the Tuscia area is fantastic. I mean,
Yeah,
I used to be in my rich younger days. I would think nothing of spending $70, $80 for a bottle of wine. I would think nothing about it. I can get a bottle of wine here for €10, which is equal to a $50, $60 bottle of wine that you'd buy in America.
that's correct.
Yeah.
And next time I go to Civitella, I should get a Motura for you and bring it.
Okay.
There are actually a few villages that are famous for the wine. Definitely Castiglione in Teverina. There is even a museum about wine. And then Civitella for the Motura, but also Montefiascone for the Est. You know that, right?
Of course, I've had that a million times.
Yeah. And I would say Marta for Cannaiola, even though that's not very famous, but it's very unique, very gentle to the palate wine. Anyway, so let's go back to a little bit of real estate. So Civitella is on the valley of Tevere, on the Tevere Valley, and is maybe, let's say, maybe by car 20 minutes from the tollway. The tollway actually brings you wherever you want to go in Italy, to Rome in one direction, Florence in the other direction. So let's say 20 minutes by car, you're on the tollway. In an hour and few minutes, you are either in Tuscany or in Rome. I think it's pretty good. Don't you think?
Yeah, and it's very close to Umbria. And
Yeah.
the Umbrian border is very close to that village. So all the areas in Tuscia are there's so many things to do here. So
I agree. So after 15 years, what is the thing that you like the best in Tuscia? What do you like to do in Tuscia?
well, I just like to live here. I like the pace of life, and I like the people. I love the food. I mean, the food that we're having for Thanksgiving is grown right down the street. When I went to buy cauliflower and broccoli and some squash yesterday for a Thanksgiving feast, my friend Mario, who has the farm, he went out in the field and he picked it.
That is fantastic.
So
Okay, so I have a little bit of bad news. I was hoping to get Barbara. She lives in Seattle, but she owns a place in Civitella to be with us for a few minutes. She's actually a teacher, and in her lunch break, she decided to join us. But she's having some problem, and I don't know why she's not capable of getting in. So, by the way, I want to show you something. A friend of mine, Gianni Profili, says Motura wine the best, but he also mentions Falesco. These are all wines that are very, 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 very good. So, I have a question for you, Roy. Another way to go around starting from Civitella is going to the station. There is a close by station called Alviano, and it's like maybe 10 minutes by car. And from there, you can go wherever, again, in Rome, in an hour or so forth. Do you rather go around with the car or with the train?
well, I do both, of course, but the transportation system in our area is fantastic. Uh, for instance, the regional bus system, I think it's called Cotral, is fantastic. Again, our village only has about 1,200 people, but we have a bus that comes through several times a day, and you can go anywhere on these buses, and they're great. They're really nice, and it's not expensive. You can go to Rome on these buses, so the transportation system's great. The train from my house to the local train station is about 7 minutes in Vetrala. So if we're going to Rome, we take the train. If we're going, depending on what we're doing, but you can buy for €12, you can buy a ticket for the day for any transportation system in the area. So you can take the bus from Cura to Rome. You take the little train, take the subways, take the buses in Rome. You come home for 12 euros. It's fantastic.
That is fantastic. That is fantastic.
It's
I agree.
fantastic. And the car, we just use it for local stuff. And if we drive, sometimes we drive to Rome, and the road system here is terrific. It's just great.
So the only concern I have about driving in Italy is if you have to go to a big place, parking might be a challenge.
Parking in Rome is a tremendous challenge. In these areas, around here, there's no problem. Like in Viterbo, you can park easily in Viterbo, and if you have to pay for it, it's €3 a day. I mean, in New York or Chicago, it's like $50, $60, even more to park a car. But if you go to Rome or to Florence or Venice, it's a big problem.
Okay, so new topic. When you go around in a small old village like Civitella, let me show you again. Like this is the entrance, right?
Yeah.
Or this one is a tower that is there probably from 800 years ago, right? So do you feel the history of these places? Do you feel that people have been going through it for centuries and centuries?
I do, because I'm interested in history, and the tower that you showed. Italian cities and villages had hundreds of these towers, and they were built by families, and they were built primarily for protection. If you lived here, 800 years ago, there was a lot of danger. So.
Oh yeah.
So wealthy families built these towers, and a lot of them are gone now. But no, anytime you walk through one of these old villages, you may not know the history and what happened and why it was there, but it's just fantastic.
I have to ask you something. So today I was reading about this Civitella Italiano and the history, and there was a very tough time around the 15th century where pretty much every, 2-3 years or something, the head of the city would change, right? Fight and battles, this and that, or the Pope would determine this and that. And things were always changing. Do you think that has some kind of impact on the way people from this area feel about foreigner?
Well, I guess. I mean, there's in our area, as our village in Bleda and about Romano, and there was always fighting going on between these villages. So, and in this area, Tuscia, there was so much. There were so many invasions, and that they're not trusting. Historically, not trusting of outsiders. But this is not. This is a normal human thing. Prejudice is a genetic thing. Someone that doesn't look like you or act like you have to be suspicious because they could be trouble. And in our modern age, we don't have to feel that way. We have laws and police, but 1,000 years ago or 800 years ago, that wasn't the case. And so I think maybe historically, people in the Tuscia area, but also in any other area, were suspicious of outsiders. But it's not the case. Anybody who comes here today is welcome. I've had a lot of people come visit me from the States and other countries, and they've all felt very welcome and had nothing but a great experience.
Well, Roy, I can tell you the following. Given that only 30 people live in a place that few hundred years ago had maybe, I don't know, 2,000 people or so, in Civitella, people are totally looking forward having somebody to come by for 30, 40, 20, 30, 40,000 bucks and remodel something and make it like a summer residence or a B&B or whatever. And they are very, 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 very happy to have new guests. In fact, when I walked around with a friend of mine named Daniele, he would show me, oh, that's the house of the American, that's the house of the French guy, that's the house of the Holland guy, and so forth and so forth. So they're very, very happy to have guests from all over the world. So I would say Civitella Italiano represents a very good buy. What do you think?
Well, and part of it is these ancient centers where very few people live anymore. The reason is that for a normal modern person, it's not comfortable. It's not. You don't have a yard. If you have like me, I have a dog and 3 cats. I couldn't live in one of these the centers of an old village, not because they're not beautiful, because they're not that comfortable. But the reason that a lot of them are being bought by foreigners is because if you just come in here for a small amount of time or you're a tourist, they're fantastic to live in. They're beautiful. They're just fantastic. The center, I wouldn't live in the center of my village in a million years. Because I have a nice, comfortable little house, and I have a yard, and I have a driveway. I can keep my car in my yard, and I can have a garden, but the Airbnbs that we have here are in the center of the village, and they're fantastic. And if you're coming here as a tourist, they're great. And,
actually, Roy, I am the opposite of you. I do not have a car. I want to live inside the wall in the historical center, and I love that I am surrounded by buildings and city.
You're living in Viterbo, which is an extremely large and beautiful center. It's not like the village you're in now, or it's not like our village. So I love Viterbo, and I spent many hours there. But even that, I wouldn't live in the center of Viterbo.
Well, I really, really, really love it. And actually, I keep saying, the historical center of Civitella, Viterbo, this and that. But you're right. The real estate opportunity are there also for a little villa, maybe on the outside. When we say outside, as you said, in few minutes walking, you are in the center, as well as in few minutes in the other direction, you are in nature, completely surrounded by nature, right?
Yeah, of course. So
I think it's really a very good opportunity for real estate. Just to make it clear, it's not that you and I are real estate agents, right? We're just saying, hey, there is Tuscia. You can buy something here, right?
Right. Well, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're going to come here and live full time, that's one thing. But again, if you're just coming to have a nice place that you fixed up, for instance, Barberano Romano, where I spent a lot of time, as you talked about with this village, that village is loaded with foreign people that have come and bought a place and fixed it up, loaded with them. And they come for 2 or 3 or a month, or so it's quite. It just depends what you're looking for in terms of a lifestyle.
Well, one thing I can tell you though, a friend of mine named Paolo just moved to Viterbo, and in 3 months, 2 months, 3 months, I'm not sure, he already visited, half of Tuscia. And going forward, he planned to visit all over Italy and maybe Europe. And you can certainly do it here. It's no big deal, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Roy, I have a little bit of proposal for you. So on Saturday at 6 p.m., we are going to be in Vetralla, very close to where you live, and we are going to have a conference about history and Vetralla. Also, my friend Paul is going to be with me. So why don't you come and we go out for dinner afterwards? It will be kind of fun.
Where is it?
In the Comune chamber in Vetralla. You know Vetralla, right?
I think so, but just send me a little message, with the address and the location.
Okay. Okay. So, Roy, I want to thank you. I want to repeat that Civitella Tagliano is a great opportunity if anybody wants to invest in real estate in Italy. It's close to the tollway, it's close to the train station, it's close to Orvieto, beautiful city. It's close to Civita di Bagnoregio, gorgeous city. And also, it hosts a museum of the ancient work or jobs. And I don't know if you know this, but after the Second World War, most people worked out of a bicycle. Did you know that?
No.
So in Civitella, there is a museum about bicycle that at that time were used to work. Like for example, the person that freshens up the mattress, for example, or the person that sells eggs, or the barber, or whatever. Everybody worked out of a bicycle. So that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And again, as I said, I want to thank you for your help. And I suggest to everybody, check it out. It's called Civitella Tagliano. I'm writing it down. Civitella Tagliano is in the province of Viterbo, and it's a very lovely city for whomever wants to try to do a little investment or at least visit. Okay, then. So,
Okay.
Roy, again, thank you. Next, last Tuesday of the month is going to be December the 30th. Do you want to do the show?
On the 30th? Sure.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do this. The 31st is New Year's and the 25th is Christmas. I got nothing to do on the 30th.
Very good, then. We'll do. Okay, then, everybody, Civitella Tagliano is waiting for your visit and possibly for an acquisition of a lovely apartment or a little house. Okay, Roy.
One thing I wanted to say was, if people want to see this village, you can go to Google Earth, and you can see the entire village. It's fantastic. It's a beautiful old village. Beautiful.
You're right. It's I never think about that. Yes, there is Google Map, and you can Google Earth, and you can go and see these beautiful places, right? Really fantastic. Okay, so with the last image from Civitella, I want to again thank you, Roy, and thank you everybody for listening to us. And we will see on Tuscia Real Estate again, each other on December the 30th, the last Tuesday of the month. Thank you, Roy.
Okay, see you.
Bye. Regista, com'è andata oggi?
Bene, benissimo, come sempre. Ci vediamo alla prossima, Giulio.
Dalla Tuscia